because it's football season. John Jones got caught using it, and this is one of my favorite orals. This is everything you need to know about TBOL or T-ball. What's going on, boys? Kai here from Foreman Secrets, and if you're completely brand new to my channel, guys, hit that subscribe button because I guarantee I'll elevate your life overall. So, Sunday, it's really cloudy out today, guys. I'm trying to do the best I can here before it starts raining. And what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is my experiences with TBOL, and the reason why it's honestly my second most favorite oral to take when it comes to oral gears. Now, my very first one you guys already know about, which is Anavar. This is the reason why, because I like to switch it up, okay? That's one of the best parts about homebrew when it comes to that, is because everything becomes so cheap and so available. You are literally have the whole entire playground of gear to play around with. When it comes to this, guys, this is one of my favorite reasons why when it comes to T-ball and why I love using it. Because one, it doesn't aromatize. It's not toxic to your liver whatsoever, just like Anavar. Now, the reason why this is my second favorite, because Anavar just gives you the aesthetics that we're looking for, right? But when it comes to performance, as in when I was doing MMA, when I was doing grappling, this is probably the more better performance enhancing gear that you could ever take, mainly because you have the endurance. You do not get tired. You have the strength to come with it. The only thing that's missing out of it, and the reason why Anavar is a little bit better, is because of the fact that Anavar gives aesthetics. But if you're more for performance side, if you're grappling, if you are doing MMA, if you are doing CrossFit, like for me, for example, when I was doing MMA and Jiu-Jitsu, oh my God, it made me perform so much better. I never felt like I got tired, specifically because for some odd reason, you know, when you're gasping for air, I feel like that's when T-ball really kicked in for me. And this is the reason why a lot of MMA fighters, a lot of grapplers, for example, like John Jones popping for it, is the reason why they love taking it, because it gives you so much more in the performance enhancing side of gear. Now, another good thing about that too is the fact that when it comes to strength, it's like somehow when you need it, when you want it, your body is just able to perform what you normally can't do. So in terms of the results, boys, I'm gonna break it down even further for you guys, okay? When it comes to strength, endurance, and performance. So when it comes to the strength stuff, it's one of those things that it works synonymously, okay? The main purpose of TBOL, honestly, is just endurance. But because of that, it's definitely tied into the strength part of it. So imagine this. Imagine the fact that when it comes to strength, because you don't get tired, you have so much more go when it comes to your strength. So even though hypothetically, say you're grappling with somebody or you're doing striking with somebody, okay? You are a lot stronger than them after a few more minutes into the fight because you don't lose your strength, which is tied into your endurance. So for the guys who have done grappling before, right? You're under them, right? They have half guard over you, or somehow they have cross guard over you, something like that, or they even have full mount. But because you don't get tired, you can easily sweep them. You'll be on top of them as compared to the guy. He started off with the same exact amount of strength that you have, but somehow you don't get tired. That's the whole purpose, the reason why I love that, because even though it's strictly more towards their endurance and the performance side, your strength never goes down. So I don't want to say that you're going to get stronger out of it. In terms of that, you're going to have the same amount of strength, which is awesome. But at the same time, could you imagine when you're rolling with somebody, when you're grappling with somebody, when you're doing 2-3 sets a day of either football, NCAA, whatever sport you're doing, you do not get tired whatsoever. Your strength never decreases. So even though it never increases the entire time, right, just like Anavar or D-ball, the fact that you do not get tired and your strength is the same exact thing, you have a lot more of an advantage because of that. Do you guys understand that exact concept? And in terms of that, guys, it's one of those things that it's hard for me to grasp the first time I've heard about it. Like, I don't understand. How do you get stronger in terms of endurance, right? Do you guys see how that gets a little bit confusing? But when it comes to that, guys, imagine another good example is this, okay? When you're performing in terms of striking, constantly jabbing over and over, after 5 minutes or so, you get tired. Your arm starts falling off, your deltoid starts cramping up, but imagine that you don't get tired. So you have the same amount of power on every single rep, every single set, every single strike, the entire time. That's how it's tied into strength equals endurance, or endurance equals to strength. I know it's hard to grasp. I know somehow I lost half of you guys when I'm trying to explain this, but in terms of the strength side, that's exactly how it works. You just do not lose strength. So even though you don't gain strength, you don't ever lose strength the entire time. Obviously, this is more of a specific thing. Obviously, after a while, you do get tired. Yes, I get that. But for the most part, when you are doing your basic grappling, your basic strength, your basic striking, you do not lose strength whatsoever because you do not get tired. Now, in terms of switching to the next topic, when it comes to Rinabal, okay, stay with me here. When it comes to the endurance side, it's just like EQ, for example, but the oral version of it. Obviously, EQ is going to be far more superior because that thing is going to be coursing through your veins the entire time. But imagine if you do EQ and Turinabol on top of it. Imagine the endurance that you get out of it. You practically don't ever get tired. That's the reason why some of these guys, the main gear that they use for MMA, for example, anybody who's rolled out there, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about, yeah? After 2-3 minutes, somehow you're gasping for air, and somehow your opponent, even though he's a lot less of a skilled person than you are, they beat you because you're just simply tired. So you have all this skill, you have all this experience, and you have all this power. After say 2 or 3 rounds, if that guy has more endurance than you, it doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter how big you are. That guy can easily double leg you and stay on top of you the entire time because you're just gasping for air. And that's the biggest example right there where TBOL comes into play. Imagine getting an extra 2 minutes of endurance. That is huge. That's where you could turn the fight around. That's where you can turn that grappling match around. That's where you could turn around your Naga tournament to get that sweet ass sword that I have and that belt as well. So you guys know what I'm talking about. The guys who do grappling. Anyways, and when it comes to the endurance side, that's one of my favorite parts because you never ever get tired. It's a weird sensation too because for the most part, tiredness comes from when that lactic acid is building up and it's just harder for you to breathe, that burning sensation in your lungs. It's a weird thing to grasp when you don't feel that anymore. 5 minutes in, 10 minutes in, you're expecting that certain feeling, but it never comes. It's one of those things to where you actually have to get used to because mentally you're ready to slow down, but yet you don't need to. But this is one of those things to where you can't expect it to work for you right from the box because even though your body can perform now, mentally you have to get used to the type of endurance that it will give. So hypothetically, you're grappling, right? You're grappling 5 minutes straight, non-stop hard grappling. Mentally, you're gonna stop there because that's where you're normally used to stopping. But in terms of getting the benefits out of TBOL, you can push a lot more, but mentally you're not ready yet. So I'd say after say 2 or 3 practices with TBOL on your system, that's when you're starting to find out the magic behind Turinabol, the endurance side of it, which is obviously tied into the performance side of it. With TBOL, you do not cramp up whatsoever. Your muscles stay loose, but at the same time, you're still able to perform. Now, in terms of aesthetics, yes, Anavar is awesome because we want that. We want the pump. We want that massive veins popping out of your biceps just like this. But in terms of performance side, like say if someone were to play, I don't know, NFL, grappling, MMA, Division I football, and NCAA, stuff like that, that would be terrible for you. Why? Because you don't want to be sprinting and your calves are cramping up. You don't want to be deadlifting and your back cramps up. You don't want to be doing any type of movement to where you are going to cramp up, because again, that would be terrible for the performance side of it. Okay, so that's the reason why when it comes to performance, TBOL will outperform Anavar any day. So in terms of my purposes, of course I'm going to take Anavar a lot better. Why? Because I do it for a lifestyle, I do it for more aesthetics. But in terms of performance, I would never take Anavar. Anavar is garbage compared to TBOL when it comes to the performance enhancing side. Another really good thing about that, guys, the reason why it's one of my favorites too, it's all around safe. It's not liver toxic whatsoever. Yes, I should always be taking TUDCA or N2 Guard when it comes to taking any type of oral. But if it so happens that, you know, it's not high dosages of TUDCA or N2 Guard, anything like that, I don't have to worry about that because it's not liver toxic whatsoever, right? And at the same time, it doesn't aromatize. So instead of taking a heap ton of aromatizing inhibitors or anastrozole or aromacin or Arimidex, whatever you want to do, I don't have to take so high doses because it doesn't aromatize at all. That is the beauty about that. So because it doesn't aromatize, it does not cause any type of water bloat, and because it doesn't cause any type of water bloat, it also ties into keeping your blood pressure at normal ranges as well. You don't have to worry about taking blood pressure medication. I don't have to worry about, I don't know what happens if my blood pressure goes too high, because TBOL does not do that. It's honestly, in terms of performance, it is one of the best oral gear that you can take. The beauty about that too, the half-life of it is about, sorry, not the half-life, the detection time of it, but John Jones apparently didn't know about, is 6 weeks. That's pretty much it, right? If you know you're getting tested by the UFC within 6 weeks, just get off it for 6 weeks and you're good to go. Apparently, he doesn't know that. That's the reason why I got popped. Another good thing about that too, guys, is the fact that it just overall, if I were to do some kind of athletic training or performance training or anything like that, that would be it. There is nothing else that would trump over it. D-ball would be terrible. You're gonna cramp up. For aesthetics, yes, D-ball is awesome. For strength, Anadrol is awesome. But in terms of overall performance, to where you need to sprint, like CrossFit, for example, I need to sprint, I need to lift heavy stuff without cramping, without getting gassed out. On top of that, guys, when it comes to that, T-ball is just hands down the better gear of choice, especially when it comes to oral stuff. In terms of guys who are not initiated, the best combo is this, okay? I would always want to take some kind of injectable on top of some kind of oral, because that way the synergistic of two compounds just works really well. At the same time, it's not hard on your liver. That's the biggest one, because here's the thing about me. You guys already know things about me, okay? I'm all about gains, I'm all about performance, and I'm all about pushing the limit. But the prerequisite before that is your safety. It's my safety, mainly because it doesn't matter how well you perform. It doesn't matter if you're doing amazing or you're looking good. If somehow you're in trouble, that is it. You're at the hospital, you're doing all this bad stuff, you're gonna have to get off all your gear cycle and stuff like that. That's the main reason why there's certain gear out there that I have taken, but I will never ever take again, because it's either too liver toxic, it aromatizes way too quickly and stuff like that. There are other gears out there that is a little bit more far superior when it comes to performance enhancing stuff, like Meboleron, for example, but that thing is so liver toxic, you can only literally take it one time for 6 months. But again, if you only fight for 1 or twice a year, that's the main reason why UFC fighters take Meboleron pretty much just once or twice a year, because it's not liver toxic, but it will deliver a lot better than T-ball. I'm gonna make another video to cover about that, but right now we're gonna go back to T-ball right now, because again, if I get bored with Anavar and I just want to do something different, it will be Turinabol. Because again, it just makes it more fun, right? And the fact that now that we are home brewing it, we have free access to it, and the fact that it's so inexpensive, that's the main reason why. Before, I would stick more towards Anavar, is even though Anavar pre-made is ridiculously expensive, Turinabol is a lot more expensive than Anavar. But that is no problem now, because we are easily able to homebrew that. And again, it's just so inexpensive now because we have access to it and we know how to homebrew it. I can literally make 3 months worth of Turinabol because of homebrewing for less than a meal at Chipotle, or just right about $12.50 for 3 months worth. That's how awesome homebrewing is, and that's how amazing Turinabol is. And same thing with Anavar, because you're able to homebrew. It's like after a while, you just want to switch it up once in a while. I mean, am I always going to prefer Anavar? Absolutely, but after a while you do get bored of it. You want to feel something different. You want to have a little bit more cardio performance as well. And when it comes to the sexual side of it, it won't give you that same drive as testosterone, but in terms of performing, enhancing while you are in bed, you're not going to be gasping for air because you've been having sex for an hour. You're not going to be gasping for air or need to slow down because you're just sweating profusely. That's what Turinabol will do you as well, guys. It's just a well all-around gear. So if I were to get bored with Anavar and I want to switch to something else, specifically just for somewhat close to for aesthetics reasons, I would absolutely switch back to T-ball. Right now, what I'm doing is absolutely Anavar for aesthetics reasons, right? On top of Test, Trend, and DHB that's coming up soon. Don't worry. But next cycle, even though I am going to be closer to bulking season, I'm definitely going to do some T-ball. Why? Because why not? I mean, I'm going to do D-ball for the first half and then Turinabol for the second half. But again, why not? Because it's inexpensive. We have easy access to it now because of how cheap it is and how we know now how to homebrew it as well. So till next time, boys, hit that subscribe button right next to that. Hit that notification bell. Kai here, former Tickets here, out. Take care, fellas.